Welcome to the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com for Saturday, June 30th. I'm Tom Leach, along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Wagering Development, taking a look at the late pick four on the final card of the spring meet at Churchill Downs. It includes a couple of stakes races, one of them graded for 2-year-olds. So let's jump right into the two stakes, Jim. We'll take a look at the 10th race first. It's the Kelly's Landing, 7 furlongs for 3-year-olds and up. The big favorite in here is going to be Chief Cicatriz, who blew him away in a race back at the beginning of June. 110 buyer. Can you beat him in this second outing over the Churchill Strip?
Yeah, I thought this exercise in handicapping was very simple. If he runs back to that, he wins. Now, you know, he ran 7 furlongs on a sloppy track in the Churchill Downs on Derby Day.
Yeah, I said second outing. This is actually his third outing over the track.
Yeah. He didn't run that well, but he was up against Limousine Liberal and Warriors Club, who he has to face in here. So, you know, I don't know how tough the field was in the Aristides. He beat Mr. Crow, who's in this field as well. But if he runs that well, he's going to win. But I think I'm going to use somebody else as well as him in the pick four, and that's Warriors Club. This horse impressed me in that Churchill Downs race. Almost beat Limousine Liberal. And then they thought so much of him, they shipped him to New York to run the Met Mile on Belmont Day. And, of course, he was up against B Jersey and Mind Your Biscuits. Couldn't handle them. He was stuck in the outside 9-hole, and I just don't. I think that was just shooting too high for him. But back at the track that he likes, he's going to have the Churchill Downs Racing Club behind him. I think Warriors Club has probably the only shot to knock off Chief Cicatriz here. So that's the two I'm using. Mr. Crow would be my third choice. He was 6 1/4 lengths behind. He got 96 buyer, so he's had 109, 104 in his past at Saratoga last year. So if he gets back to his form on his third time out, he could challenge as well. Those three are the top three by far, I think. I'd take Chief Cicatriz if I had to pick a winning horse.
11th race, the great, or let me, should do you mind on the Kelly's Landing? I'm singling Chief Cicatriz when we get to the pick four. I thought he was very impressive last time and trending in a fashion that suggests that number's legit. And I don't know that he'll quite run back to that, but I don't think he'll necessarily have to. A Warriors Club would be one I would use with him. Requite, I'm going to throw in there just on back class. And then CZ Rocket, I think you can forgive the kind of a dud off the layoff. I think that horse will run a lot better, but I don't see any of them beating Chief Cicatriz. The 11th is the Grade 3 Bashford Manor for 2-year-olds going 6 furlongs, and it's always interesting because they've mostly been running no more than 5.5 at this point. I took Shanghai Roo in here. I liked how he won decisively in that debut race at Keeneland. Really spread out the field. There was a lot of distance from first to second, second to third, fourth. And he's had solid, steady works. And that was one of, I think, 2 or 3 2-year-old races that Wesley Ward didn't win. Brett Calhoun got off to a good start, and then Wesley started winning every 2-year-old race. So Brett Calhoun knows what to do with a 2-year-old. And I like the inside post here, and this horse has had a nice long break, working steadily. And so I'm going to take him. I think Toothless Wonder coming in for Doug O'Neill's real dangerous in here. Sir Troubadour for Asmussen, I think will improve off that race up in New York. Tales of Chaucer you could throw in as well for Norm Cassie off a nice debut win up in New York. But I'm usually not wild about the New Yorkers shipping down here for this race, but I'm going to throw him in there just because he was so impressive in that debut win. But Shanghai Roo for me in the Bashford Manor. How about you?
I've got the same horses, and I've got the same top pick. I had a note on here that Calhoun beat Wesley Ward, and it was opening weekend at Keeneland, and I think this was probably the second race that Wesley hadn't won. Everybody says, well, I guess his 2-year-olds aren't any good. Well, they were pretty good because he won 10 in a row after that. So more impressive than the 2 1/4 length lead win is that he beat Wesley that day. And I think you're right. This horse has been working. They put a slow work into him June 23rd, but he's been working steadily. Had a fast work back in May, couple fast works back in May. So I'm going to take Shanghai Roo, but I'm also going to use Sir Troubadour, who had a race over the track at Churchill and won by 4 on a sloppy track. Didn't back it up much at Belmont, but shipped up there for $150,000 stakes race. So they obviously think a lot of this horse they gave $300,000 for. Tales of Chaucer for Norm Cassie, that 84 buyer. It may be a little suspect on that sloppy track at Belmont. That's the race that Sir Troubadour. No, I'm sorry. Tales of Chaucer won that race. That's a lot faster time than Sir Troubadour ran up there, but 84 might be a little bit questionable on a sloppy track. And then Toothless Wonder for Doug O'Neill. I always use him when he ships in. So same 4 horses you've got, and I'd also take Shanghai Drew on top.
All right, let's talk about the pick 4. It starts in the 9th race. It's a non-winners of 2 other than allowance, around 2 turns, and then finishes with a 1-mile turf race for fillies and mares. So give me your pick 4 ticket, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Okay, pick 4 ticket. I'm going to use 4 horses in the first leg. I'm going to use Hint of Roses for Mike Maker, and he would be my top choice in here. Off that last win, he really improved. He ran better at Churchill than he did at Keeneland. Big Dollar Bill beat him at Keeneland, but I don't like Big Dollar Bill's running style, and got to come from way out of it, so he's dependent on a fast pace. I will use him in the pick 4, however. Rocking the Boat for Kellen Gorder, the 7 horse, and Hollywood Handsome just on back class for Dallas Stewart. So I'm going to go 3, 4, 5, 7 in the first leg. In the 10th race, Kelly's Landing that we talked about, I would use only the 610 Warriors Club and Chief Chickatriz. So I'm going to go 2 deep there. Then the 4 horses we talked about in the Bashford Manor, 1, 4, 9, 11. And in the final race is, if I can get my stuff together here, I'm going to use Victory Garden as my top pick, the 11. But I'm also going to use the 1, Persephone's Dawn, Hot Zone, the 4, and Flat Meadow, the 8. So I would go with my pick 4, 3, 4, 5, 7, with 610, with 1, 4, 9, 11, with 1, 4, 8, 11 for $64.
I have quite a similar ticket. I'm going 5 deep in the first leg, the 4 you mentioned, the 3, 4, 5, 7, and I'm going to include the 6, which is actually the one that I might bet a win ticket on, of just that big buyer jump in the first off a short layoff. That's Great Minds, the 6. So I'm going to use 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Singles, Chief Cicatriz. In the Bashford Manor, I'm going to use all 4 of the ones we mentioned. And then in the last leg, I'm going 5 deep. And I like Hot Zone to win, but I like Victory Garden a lot too. The Sweetest Taboo, Scattered Rain, the 9 and the 2, and Persephone's Dream, the 1. This horse was touted a little bit last fall, never has really run to, I think, the ability that this one has. So one of these days, she's probably going to wake up. So I'm going to definitely want to have her on my ticket. So I'm going 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with 10, with 1, 4, 9, 11, with 1, 2, 4, 9, 11. So that's 5 by 1 by 4 by 5 for me, and I think that's $50 for 50 cents. So,
yep.
Best of luck with your Saturday wagers, be they at Churchill Downs or Woodbine, where you've got the Queen's Plate card on Saturday, or down in Florida, where they will run the Summit of Speed. Some good opportunities this weekend, so keep your Keeneland Select account fully funded. For Jim Goodman, I'm John Leach, and this is the In the Money Podcast.